Give you another one, what they are. And we all know these people. They're the guys that'll start a fight and then hold your coat.
Right.
Right.
You know, they're the big mouths we all know people like that. They'll get you into a fight situation, and then as soon as the fight's going to break out, here, let me hold your coat.
I'm thinking
while
of a
you
guy.
go fight the guy.
I was with a guy once, and I guess I was doing some public appearance, so they assigned 2 big bodyguards to me. And a buddy of mine is in L.A. with me, and we're walking around, and all of a sudden, he starts in with another guy. And I knew this guy was going to fight. He knew he had the 2 bodyguards.
Right, that's why he's got the big
2
mouth.
bodyguards jump in. They're fighting, and he's sitting there on the sidelines watching the whole goddamn thing go down. And
But that's the thing with Cheney. He's never done he's never had to face an enemy.
No.
He's never had to be the person who tortured somebody.
Right.
He's never done any of this stuff, but
It's
he
all
doesn't
theoretical.
mind telling everybody else to do it.
The worst thing is a broad who gets you into fights. Every day the chick is like...
The last time you were here, girls can get you into fights.
Yeah, absolutely.
The last time you were here, you said some pretty mind-blowing things, and it was a great story.
I did?
Well, yes, you always do. And by the way, we're here to celebrate. Don't Start the Revolution Without Me is now available in paperback. That's your 2nd book, right?
3rd.
Is it your 3rd? And are you working on a 4th?
Yes.
You never run out of stuff to write about.
Well, I write about things that interest me.
What's the 4th one going to be?
It's going to be on conspiracies.
Oh, well, you're a big 9/11 guy, and the whole thing.
Well, I question my government on 9/11 because as you get in, for most lay people out there, they accept what they hear on TV, they accept the government's explanation, but once you start getting in and studying what actually happened that day, there's a lot of problems.
Bottom line, what are you saying?
I believe if our government didn't actually participate in it, that they certainly knew it was going to happen and allowed it to happen.
That is mind-blowing.
Wow.
And you're going to write a book backing that up.
Yeah.
Now, what would be the purpose of allowing it to happen?
Well, we're in 2 wars, aren't we? That we would have never been in. And how much money has Halliburton made in the war? How much money has Blackwater made in the war? People fail to realize that there are war profiteers out there.
So you're saying that you're talking about treason. You're talking about who are you accusing of treason in your next book?
About mass murder.
I'm not. I'm just simply writing about the questions I have about it.
Is this why you call the Bush administration the worst administration ever?
Yeah.
Have you ever received any kind of death threats yourself for these theories and going on about this stuff? Because you're taking pretty seriously. You were the governor.
I haven't received any death threats over 9/11 and my viewpoints on questioning it. But when I was in office, I received one a week.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
And what precautions did you take when you would receive these death threats?
I took none, but my security forces, who are the state troopers of the state of Minnesota, they take many. They take every death threat. Totally, 99% of them, Howard, are all bullshit.
Right.
But the minute you decide that this one isn't, that'll be the real one.
And do you still have a security detail because you're an ex-governor?
Nope. The day that I left office, I lost it all. You're naked.
You could have had a security. No? That's it. It's over.
That's it.
Next day. Boom.
Next day.
Not even in Minnesota. If you're in Minnesota, you don't get it.
No.
Is that a tough adjustment for you? And talk about the psychological adjustment of going from being this powerful guy, every word is really taken seriously. Suddenly, bam, you're stripped of it. That's why maybe Coleman
back on the street.
Yeah. Well, I was lucky because I then was invited for a year to go teach at Harvard.
Right.
Which, and then I went on my adventure to Mexico.
Right.
Because I thought
Which you love. You love Mexico.
I love it. I live, Howard, an hour from pavement and an hour from electricity.
An hour? You don't have electricity?
Not where I live. Down
Come
there.
on, stop.
I have electricity. I'm completely solar.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I thought he had a bike and he was just...
No. I get all my electricity.
I thought you had a windmill.
No, I'm solar. It's Baja. You don't need a windmill. You need the sun.
How do you watch The Real Housewives of New Jersey?
I don't.
You don't have a TV?
Yes, I get everything. I get more than you get because down there you can get pirate boxes and you get everything.
You get illegal cable down there.
Well, only because get this. Now here's an interesting dilemma. You know the satellite boxes?
Sure.
It's illegal to take them out of the country. Now, why? Why can't I use the box that I use in Minnesota? Because I drive.
Right.
Carry it with me to Mexico. It's the same satellite. I pay for it every month.
What's the answer?
They won't allow it.
Because they want to make more money off you.
I don't know. So anyway, down there, I had a legal box with a bogus address up here.
Right.
And then they cut me off, and they cut my stations off, so they didn't want my money. I paid every month. They made my money, and they decided now they don't want my money. And I thought, what kind of business is that? You know, that doesn't want your money.
What about what's going on now with this flu? Are we taking
Are you
precautions?
worried about it? You down
When
there?
you came into the country from Mexico, do they test you?
Yeah, let me say this. I believe the Mexican government has done an outstanding job doing what they can. They closed all the soccer down. They shut the schools down for a week. When I left to go to the airport, you had to fill out a thing answering questions of if you had any symptoms, and they actually had a thing where they would touch your arm and take your temperature.
No kidding.
And they wrote it down on your boarding pass, and if your temperature was too high, you ain't getting on the plane.
You're not afraid of swine flu, are you?
Well, you can't be afraid of things like that.
You don't walk around with any fear? Do you fear anything?
Sure.
What are you afraid of?
I fear that my children will die before me.
That's your fear.
That's the biggest.
But you don't have any personal fear. You don't walk around worrying about.
Well, I used to fear heights till I became a SEAL.
How did you get over that?
Jumped out of 34 planes.
Take care of it.
Yeah, but I mean but it's still hard to do, right?
Oh,
but you had to do it.
I don't like heights today. I'm still. But
when you jumped out of a plane, you had a parachute on that you pull yourself. There's no instructor riding piggyback.
No.
Yeah.
And the highest was 12,000 feet.
The first time you jumped from a plane, did you have a guy strapped to you who teaches you how to do this?
No.
You were solo?
No. But you're doing static line jumps then.
What does that mean?
That's where your parachute's hooked onto a line in the plane, so that when you jump, it pulls your chute out. Like you see the Army Airborne. That's jump school. And then later you learn free fall.
Did you have to be pushed, or did you jump?
You jump.
Did you vomit? I would vomit.
No, but anyone that tells you they're not scared is a liar.
Did you ever see any of your buddies who were learning how to parachute jump and for some reason panic, not pull their chutes and die?
No.
These guys they handled it.
We've all been through BUDS. Basic Underwater Demolition Shield. Howard, that's 5 months of hell.
Wow.
That's,
Those are real men.
Well, the average...
You look at me like a woman, don't you? You look at me like I'm a woman.
Not a bit.
Do I look female to you because compared to these men you serve?
No.
You think you could turn me into a real man?
Do you think?
No, impossible.
No.
You can't make a real man.
How dare you?
You're already a real man, Howard. It's just that some of us are different than others. I personally... I find that I need to defy death at times to enjoy life.
I'm sure you're better at banging a broad than I am. You got to be. I mean, look at the size of you. My God. I mean, in Vietnam, you had your share of hookers, and you've told me
Oh,
this.
my God, he did?
Yeah. No, not Vietnam.
Where? Well,
Philippines.
Thailand. Oh, Philippines. Jesus Christ. Wonder what went on with you.
Subic Bay in those days, you'd walk out the main gate, and in a 1 mile stretch of road was 350 bars and 10,000 girls every night.
Nothing wrong with hookers.
Imagine if you're 19.
Prostitution doesn't bother you.
Prostitution should be legal.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Stop and think about it.
You never accidentally got a boy. Sometimes I read about these things in the Philippines where you see this gorgeous hooker, and they're good looking. You take them home, they got a penis.
They teach you in the Navy SEALs how to tell a boy.
That's in Honolulu? That happened to you?
No.
Never.
But I had a friend, anybody in the old days, if anything in a miniskirt on Hotel Street was a guy.
No kidding.
Yep.
And sometimes you couldn't tell the difference, which is unbelievable.
Oh, these guys, their girls should be jealous of some of their legs.
Really?
If you look and go, my friend said that's a guy, and I go, that's a guy?
You don't miss the Filipino girls, the whole excitement of that?
No. I grew beyond that when I got home, and Howard, I've been married it'll be 35 years this summer.
Jeez. And you're happily married. You ever use any of these sex toys, adult videos, any of this stuff with your wife?
No, I don't have to.
You don't?
No.
It's still as hot and as exciting?
Yeah, as ever.
Really?
Yeah, at least 3 times a week.
Hey, so here's what I got to talk to you.
Nice.
3 times a week still?
Yeah.
After 35 years.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
All positions?
All of them.
All of them?
Yeah, probably a few you don't even know.
I guarantee you I don't know.
That's amazing, because after 4 years with my girlfriend,
And my
she
wife
said she got to be waterboarded.
My wife is going to kill me now because she said, she says, I don't mind you doing Howard, but Howard's always got to turn everything to dirty sex.
Well, it's
and
true.
I said, well, that's Howard.
But aren't you celebrating something wonderful? The fact that you've been married this long.
Yeah.
You're a famous guy. You certainly could be one of these guys gets lots of divorces, lots of women, all this kind of stuff. And I mean, and you're saying you find your wife so attractive you have to bang her 3 times a week.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's very good. And this is all
sometimes
with her.
more.
Now,
Good
what
Lord.
do you do? What kind of advice did you give your kids? Because you've had a wild single life before you married.